Hello and welcome. This is day 5 of the Update Your Game Challenge. Um, we're streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. If you missed any of the earlier days this week that were not streamed, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can find those videos on YouTube. All right, so we'll go ahead with our final day. I'll share my screen. And all right. Yesterday we made just a couple changes. We ended up changing the player names, so it's easier to know who's who. And basically, we mainly worked on the scoreboard, and we tweaked the speed for the enemy. And yeah, mainly just the scoreboard. I looked into as well a little bit more of the details of how GGRS works, because I was exploring the idea of having players be allowed to join mid-game instead of everyone waiting for all the players to be in. Basically, having different number for minimum players and maximum players. So right now, well, by default it's 2, but you can go up to 4, but you have to wait for all the players to join before the game can actually start. So I was exploring that yesterday. Yeah. So today's the final day, and I realized there are some basic usability things that I wanted to do this week, but I completely forgot about. And the main one is being able to run this without having to run your own signaling server, because for most people, like realistically, they're not going to go to GitHub and compile a signaling server just to be able to run the games. They just want to play. And we have it up on GitHub pages, so all we need is to host a signaling server somewhere, and then update the IP that's in here, the default IP that's in arguments here, to be the one that we're going to host. And if someone wants to run a local one, they still can. You can pass this as an argument and specify your own signaling server you want to use. But at least by default, there will be one. And when someone gets to that page, they will be able to play with someone and try it out. So yeah. So what I was thinking of doing here is to take the signaling server and just put it up on AWS Lambda. That way, it will automatically be running when someone tries to access it, and otherwise it will not run. And I think the traffic would be relatively low on this server, so I think that would be the most cost-efficient thing to do. Plus, in terms of scaling, it should scale up automatically if it's configured correctly. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first, and then maybe I'll go in, like if we have a little bit of time at the end, maybe I'll swap out some assets, like instead of the sphere for the enemy or the box for the player. But we'll see how this all goes, and then we'll publish our update. So I created an AWS account here. All right, just created this account, and we're already on Lambda, but if you go to services, you'll find that somewhere. Maybe you have to search for it. Yeah, it's in one of these categories. Oh, here, yeah. Yeah, so I think, so I've never actually done one of these before. So hopefully it's relatively simple. Otherwise, I guess we won't have it as part of this update, but maybe we'd do another challenge related to this. All right, so Lambda function. So I thought you could run, okay, let's see. Yeah, I mean, can we run something like this? Like what we want to do is showing, Lambda functions here. So you just provide the actual code. Do I have to like copy paste the code, or can I like point to a GitHub repository? Maybe what I want is not called Lambda, but something else. Well, I mean, it's basically Lambda, but maybe if I can provide like a binary directly instead of code. Yeah, or like the link to a GitHub, or a commands to compile code from GitHub. Okay. Let's see. Maybe let's do a search. So this just FYI, that this type of server hosting is called serverless because you don't have to like maintain a server up all the time. It'll automatically be up or not based on if people are trying to access it, and it will pop up more servers to meet the demand. So it's just really low maintenance. Yeah, right here it says serverless. Oops. So I think maybe what we need, I mean, Lambda is really great. Looks like really easy. If I just had like a little function, I could post that. But in this case, we need the signaling server, which is like code that's already been written. Let's see, maybe let's open that in a new window. Matchbox. And what we want, well, at least what we've been using, I think, is Matchbox server. Matchbox signaling probably works too, but I haven't tested it. But yeah, so yeah, this is what we've used, right? Let me go back up my command history. Matchbox server. Yeah, this is what we ran to compile that. And then that binary would be found in here, I guess, debug Matchbox server. Right, I'm on Windows. I very much doubt that we'd have a Windows server. Most likely I'd have to compile this for Linux or something. We'll see. Or, maybe I can do it with code if maybe not. It does need to be, it's not like just a function we call one shot. Like it needs to be up long enough for all the players to connect, right? So, or at least not shut down when there's still someone connected. All right. So hopefully we can get this going by the end of this call. Yeah, I wonder if we could like, if we wrote code, we could just like kind of call the main from the function and just let it do its thing. Um, maybe. All right. Um, I'll just look for AWS serverless because I know they have multiple options, and maybe Lambda is not quite the one that we need. Um, maybe it is. Let's see. Um, all right, maybe Fargate. Yeah, I guess these are two options. I mean, Lambda is really attractive. You just literally write a function. Um, this one works with containers, so I think this is the one where I'd compile something for Linux and put it in. And maybe this is where I'm a little bit more familiar, but I'm also very intrigued with Lambda. Can we get it to work with that? Because Lambda just seems so much simpler. Um, yeah, I mean, the other option, we could um, we could just get like a Linux server, like a cheap Linux server, and clone the code there, compile it there, and then that's all. But the downside there is, if something happens, the server crashes for whatever reason, it won't start up automatically. And I really don't want to have to spend time like maintaining this. Um, I'd rather it, kind of um, just work in an automated way. So, all right. So I think, yeah, maybe Fargate is what we need, but I really want to give Lambda a try. Um, so maybe let's do that. Yeah. Let's see, main, my handler. Yeah, I have some doubts that Lambda can do this because it's event-based, right? So, oh, maybe it'll just run, right? Maybe the main will just keep running. Maybe it won't shut down automatically. We'll see. Anyway, it should be free. I'm pretty sure we won't have like millions of requests. Um, all right. So looks like it has examples for a bunch of different languages. Custom runtime. This looks like Rust. Doesn't say Rust, but oh yeah, it does. Cool. So that's good. And okay, let's say I just ran the example. Hello from Lambda. Lambda responds to events. Is this from here? Handler. So whenever I run this, it calls the handler, looks like, and I get hello from Lambda, and then it's done. I guess the program shuts down. Okay, it just keeps calling it. Hmm. Maybe we can get this to work. All right, so create a function. Custom runtime was Rust. Okay. Feel like I want more info. Not sure I'm taking the right path, but we'll see. So I picked default. Providing your own bootstrap. I mean, don't want to spend too much time, so I'd rather, if the default just works with Rust, will be great. Function name. I'll say Matchbox server. Okay. I think I'll leave everything as default. Okay, so I'm not sure what I need to do here. Is this relevant? Function URLs, create function. Okay, that would be handy. Function URLs configure, you can use it to invoke your function to the browser. Okay, when you configure a function URL from the main function page, Lambda assigns the function URL to the latest unpublished version of your function. Unpublished. So maybe this is more for testing. You can assign. Okay. I guess then I can secure this URL, so it's not for everyone to use. Oh, I can do authorization now. Okay, I see. Yeah, I don't think I need system function URL. I just leave everything as default. I can always add. Okay, I'm sure I can always add these later. Now that I see this, I didn't notice this before, but it looks like I can actually use a container image in Lambda. So I don't. So I don't know the difference between Lambda and Fargate. It just looks like Lambda can maybe do more. But I don't have a container image. But maybe there's a blueprint. Sample configuration. Is there a Rust one? I mean, it's not that hard to build a container. I could just make a container with Docker. Yeah. Maybe that would be the easiest. And so we'd have the entry point. Okay. And I mean, Docker is pretty standard. It doesn't specifically say Docker, but I'm pretty sure it would work. Right. Matchbox server. Yeah, this is going to be the way to go, I think. I don't think I have Docker installed, so I'll have to go ahead and install that. All right, and then this I'm going to set in the Docker. I might have to specify this for like the port, and then oh, there we go. It does say Docker. All right, well, I'll just go ahead and create it. These are all optional, so I guess I can just add them later. I do need to add the image here, so I'll install Docker first. Should work, and hopefully it shouldn't take too long to install. Right. While we're here, okay, let's just all right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could use either one. I'll just use Lambda. Maybe some other time I'll experiment more with like just actually supplying like a small bit of code, like a function. I think that could be pretty interesting. Um, yeah. Um, but yeah, I really like the idea that, this is just kind of there for convenience, but like people can specify their own server and they aren't, stuck with this. Um, like it will work even if maybe you don't trust Amazon and you don't want to, or you don't trust me, right? You don't know what's running on that server, and um, but yeah, it's all open source, so if you want to run everything locally, you can do that as well. It's like Docker's almost done. So nothing's happening. I did click on it. Okay. Antivirus is happy. Maybe it didn't open. Oh, okay, something's going on. Sure. Yeah, so all I have to do is provide an image, looks like, and then this stuff it says optional. I assume because there's maybe a default, it tries to, yeah, I guess the Docker doesn't have to specify like explicitly an entry point, but yeah, we'll see. Might have to create a couple until we get it right. It's been a little while since I've done these. Maybe while this is installing, we could find an example. Docker rest. Oh yeah, these take a while to compile sometimes. Unless I just put the binary directly in it, but it's kind of nice to just have it be able to run directly on the repository. Oh yeah, well I do need to compile it inside though, because if I compile it locally, I'm on a different OS. So a .exe won't run in my container environment. So and I don't think I can cross compile that easily. It's just, yeah, you just have a lot more certainty that it's just going to work. You compile it directly on the system that it's going to run on. All right, so it looks like it might take a little while. So while it's doing that, maybe we can do something on the code here. So yeah, we'll have the args here point to the signaling server, and then it will just connect them. So when someone gets on the page, it will just say waiting for players. I think that's all we need is instructions. That kind of makes it obvious that someone else needs to join. We need to add any more instructions for like not tutorial, but oh, it's done. And it wants to restart Windows. Well, I'm not going to restart Windows right now. So what I'm going to do, is it restart Docker? Well, should I try this? If I click here, it will prompt me, right? It won't restart Windows completely. Should I take the risk?